So for the 6.2 quick check, first one is describe 3 ways to write the ratio that compares 4 electronic devices for every 3 people. Well, we can write this as a fraction, as 4 over 3, which is a little unusual. You'd think of this usually as part over whole, so 4 over 7, so we normally don't write it like that. We can also write it 4 to 3 with words, or you can write it with colons, 4 to 3. So that would, for this one, it would be the top choice A. For the second question, how do you write 5 is to 1 as 20 is to 4 as a proportion in fraction notation? Well, we can cross this thing out because that's not even a fraction. And if we're never sure, what you can always do is cross multiply, and they do have to be the same. So for this one, 5 times 4 needs to be equal to 20 times 1, and it was 20 to equals 20. Whereas the one below it, let's switch colors and do this, 5 times 20 would equal 1 times 4, and of course that's not true, so we can cross that one out. And then for the last choice on here, we would cross multiply, and you can tell we're going to get the same thing. 5 times 20 is going to equal 4 times 1, and clearly that's not true, so we can cross that one out. So the answer is just the second choice here. You fill your car with 15 gallons of gas at a cost of $45 using fractional notation. How do you write a proportion that shows how much 5 gallons would cost? And we use X to represent the cost. So again, we know it can't be this choice because that's not even a fraction, so we'll just cross that out. And what they really should be doing is writing the units. So it should be 15 gallons over $45. And the reason why we're doing that and putting the units in there, the gallons and the dollars are the units, is on the other side, we have 5 gallons, so I need to write 5 gallons, and this time I'm just going to write GAL over X amount of dollars. Notice how I have gallons on top, and then dollars on the bottom, dollars on bottom. So it looks like it's going to be on mine, choice A again. That's very, very strange. If we did want to solve this, we would cross multiply and get 15 times X. It's going to equal 45 times 5. That would give us 15X equals 225. And I did not leave myself enough room to write this down. 15X equals 225. And then, of course, to solve it, we would divide both sides by 15. And we would get X to be 15 as our answer. Let's go ahead and pause it if you need more time. And the last question, we're going to determine if those are proportions or not. Clearly they are fractions. So we just cross multiply. So 2.5 times 48 needs to equal 12 times 10. I'm going to use my calculator to make sure, but 12 times 10 is 120. And 2.5 times 48 is 120. So yes, this one is definitely a proportion. And let's check the other one. So we're going to see if 2.5 times 24 is the same thing as 2 times 12, and I think we can clearly tell it's not going to be. 2 times 12 is 24, and 24 times 2.5 is 60, so that's not a proportion. So this is the only one that's a proportion. It's 2.5 over 10 equals 12 over 48. So again, same idea for the last one here. We'll start off with the first one, 16 times 12. Does that equal 24 times 8? 16 times 12 is 192. And 24 times 8 is also 192. So this is a proportion. And then we're going to check for the last one. 8 times 6, does that equal 4 times 8? I think I said that wrong. 8 times 6 does that equal 12 times 4. 8 times 6 is 48, and 12 times 4 is 48, and that's also a proportion, so both of those would be proportions. If you have any kind of questions, go ahead and ask your math teacher.